All right, this next PowerPoint project is a test of keeping things straight in your mind. Ah, wow. Let's take a look. I'm going to go to the Start button, go to Computer. I'm going to get to Drive L, our good old courses drive, Period 7, Assignments, PowerPoint. And this I have planned here for a 3-session kind of thing, and I don't know if it will wind up taking you all that long or not. But let's take a look first of all at the idea behind the project. I'm going to open up this quiz guide. You're going to be creating an interactive quiz in PowerPoint. You make up the questions, and then you know, the sub could take your quiz, or I can take your quiz eventually, or you can share it with other people or whatever. But you make up the questions, you define what are the right answers and the wrong answers, and you have to make the whole thing work. So let's take a look at what all is required here. It's a 70-pointer here. And you're going to create an interactive quiz using PowerPoint that is controlled by hyperlinks. We've been learning about hyperlinks. Here are the requirements. You have to have a cover page or a title page. The very first slide ought to be like a title. It tells, gives a name to the quiz, and that's worth 5 points. The title page has to have a next page hyperlink. You'll need a shape or a text box or whatever that is linked to the very next page, slide number 2. That's worth 5 points. You'll have to have 5 questions, a total of 5 questions on your quiz. 10 points for that. All questions, text, photos, subject matter must be school appropriate. 10 points for that. All questions must have at least 2 answer choices. We can't do fill in the blank with this. This has to be a thing where your audience, your quiz taker, has a choice of answers. It could be true, false. It could be a multiple choice kind of thing. But they have to have at least 2 choices. That's required, and that is 10 points for that. All questions must have a slide for what we call feedback. It's got to tell somebody who's taking your quiz whether they got it right or wrong. And so there has to be slides set up for that, and that is worth 10 points. All the right or wrong slides, the ones that say yes you got it right or no you got it wrong, have to hyperlink, have to have a next question hyperlink that gets you to the next question. All right. So remember, if you finish question 1 and it's saying nope, you got that one wrong, there has to be a way to get to question number 2. So that's what these next question hyperlinks are all about. I'll show you more in a minute. Except for the last one, of course, when you hit the last question, you don't have to have that next question hyperlink. 5 points for those next question hyperlinks, and then all hyperlinks must work properly in order to navigate the entire quiz. Okay. Here's some tips that I have. Don't worry about changing your colors a lot. Sweating over colors on different slides can add time to your work. So I would pick some colors that you like and kind of stick with them. Use clip art and graphics where they're necessary. Take advantage of copy and paste if there's something you're going to use on one slide and then use it again on another slide. Copy it and paste it. That will speed you up a little bit. Test your hyperlinks before you determine that you're all the way done with this. You ought to be able to start your show or start your quiz and work with the hyperlinks to go all the way through and make sure it's working. Test your own stuff before you say, yes, I'm done, and you turn it in. Your quiz can have a theme, but it doesn't have to be a theme. It could be like a baseball quiz or a Star Wars quiz. It could have a theme to it if you want, but it doesn't have to have a theme. A theme's not required. And I put a slide guide. It's not on my website. This says on my website, but it's actually on Drive L. I'll show it to you here. And that might help you some. You can look at it, and it'll be one of those things that if it helps you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. As you're working on this, you can save it on your network drive and call it just quiz. And then when you're all done with it, your finished copy needs to be dragged and dropped into your turn-in folder on Drive L. Now let's look at some other things that are available here. That was the guide. Here's this slide guide diagram. It's right here on Drive L, and if I double-click that, you can see how it's set up. And it's like a map. Your title slide is slide number 1 here, and it's got to have a button that links it to slide number 2. Slide number 2 is going to have question number 1, which is going to have some choices on it. a right choice. It's got to have a right answer, and it has to have at least one wrong choice. Or you could do a multiple choice thing that has like 3 or 4 choices if you want to. Now these things, these choices, whether they're text boxes or pictures or shapes or however you're going to do it, they have to be hyperlinked. So if somebody clicks the right choice, it jumps off here to a slide that tells them, yeah, you got that question right. Now the wrong choices are going to have to be hyperlinked so that if somebody clicks on a wrong choice, it's going to jump off and it's going to say, nope, you got that one wrong. All right. Now for each one of these on slide 3 and 4 here, notice that each one of these have to have a button that gets you to the next question. So like on slide 3, if the next question, the question number 2, is sitting here on slide 5, all right, then this button's got to, you click it and it's got to jump you to slide 5 so you're ready for question number 2. Now if you're sitting right here, if you got question number 1 wrong and it's telling you, nope, you got that one wrong, this button right here that gets you to the next question just has to jump you to question number 2, which is right here on slide 5. Now this whole idea keeps going. On question number 2, you have to have a right choice and at least one wrong choice. And they're going to have to be things like buttons, shapes, pictures, text boxes. You're going to have to put things on the PowerPoint slides that are clickable. You got to be able to click them. You have to hyperlink them. All right, if somebody clicks the right choice, it's got to jump off to a page, and in my example here, I did slide number 6, jump off to a page that says, yep, you got question number 2 right. And also on this slide, there's got to be one that will jump you to question number 3, which in my diagram here, I have sitting down here on slide number 8. Now remember, if somebody clicks on a wrong choice here, it's got to jump you to a slide that says, nope, you got that one wrong. And then there's got to be like a hyperlinked shape or button or something here that jumps you to question number 3. Well, all right, and on it goes until you have 5 questions. Now you can kind of see how this really, this is just mostly, I mean, you got to have some PowerPoint skills, but you also got to figure it out. You got to just keep thinking through this and thinking, okay, now which slide needs to be linked to which slide? And you got to fight a little bit to keep yourself from getting confused. But you can do it. With a little work, you can do it. Now the other thing I'm going to show you here is my quiz. Maybe you've already taken it. You might have already looked through it. But if I open up PowerPoint, here's what mine looks like. Now, first thing we ought to do here is just run it. I hit F5, and here we go. It's the Center for Advanced Intelligence Candidate Interview Process. All right. Entrance exam, and there's a button down here that says Get Started. If you click it, it takes you to question number 1. All right, now here's question number 1. The Star Wars character pictured at the right is most famous for his line, "It's a trap." Who is he? I've got 4 choices down here. Only one of them is the right choice. If I say Jar Jar Binks, if I click on Jar Jar Binks, it jumps off to a slide that says, no, incorrect, missed that one. It's Admiral Akbar, led the attack on the second Death Star. Da, da, da. Now, down here at the bottom of this, it says next question, and this would jump me to question number 2. Okay? And now, what compound is pictured in this diagram on the right? And here's the picture. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure this is water. It looks like H2O. All right, got that picture off the internet. So I think the right answer is water. So if I click water, it tells me yes. It jumped me off to another slide that's telling me, yes, you got that correct. You shower in a whole bunch of these. Now down at the bottom of this page, I have a button here that says next question. And this has to be linked off to question number 3. Okay. Now question number 3. And I did this last year, so it's a little bit old. But it says, what name has been given to the voice in iPhone 4S voice-activated assistants? Well, okay, Cortana. No, I think that's Halo. Madge. Yeah, I don't think. Rosie? No, it's probably Siri. Yeah, Siri. All right, so Siri, and that tells me yes, you got that correct. Okay. Next question button right here. And it says the actor on the right is the most recent actor to play James Bond. Who is he? Patrick Stewart, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig. Let's say it's Timothy Dalton. Oh, no, missed that one. It's Daniel Craig. Timothy Dalton did play James Bond, by the way. Next question, and this is question number 5. Which constitutional amendment is it that protects the right to bear arms or own a weapon? First, second, third, fourth. Oh, let's say I've heard a lot about this lately. Second, okay, that's correct. All right, now this says the end, and I've just got it linked off to an ending page, and that's an optional thing. Now I'm going to hit escape here one time and just kind of point out a couple of things. I'm about done here. All right, the way I have this set up in PowerPoint fits that diagram that I showed you a few minutes ago. Slide number 1 is my title slide. Slide number 2 has question number 1 with 4 choices on it. Only one of those is the right choice, Admiral Akbar right here. Now that button is hyperlinked to this slide, slide number 3, which tells you, yes, you got that correct. Right? And then this next question button right here is hyperlinked on down to where question number 2 is waiting, which is down here at slide 5. All right, you really have to think it through and keep track of what is where in your presentation. This one, if you back up here on the question, if you answered Boba Fett or Jar Jar Binks or Jabba the Hutt, it's going to jump you. All of these buttons are hyperlinked right here to this incorrect slide, slide number 4, and it tells you, nope, you got that one wrong. It was Admiral Akbar. And this next question button is linked to question number 2. So that kind of a pattern continues on throughout the whole thing. You have a question with choices. The choices are linked to these feedback slides that tell you, yep, correct, nope, incorrect. And these next question buttons are always linked to wherever the next question is, and in this case question 2 is sitting here on slide number 5. Well, like I said, there are PowerPoint skills involved in this, but there's also just that power of the mind skill involved in this, where you got to keep straight what you're doing and remember what is where and what's what, and I think you can do it. 5 questions. That's the setup for the assignment, and you should have plenty of time to do this, kind of planning 3 days for this one. Off you go.